Hi, I'm just going to run through a small introduction of how the property management system works that I've created here. Um, yes, I will start by trying to log in, and if I put the wrong password in, then we'll just get an error, which is quite standard for most systems. Let's put the right password in for a change, and we get logged in. The user profile can change his password, can change some information, change my first name to Mendel, update it, and it's updated in the system. We have a dashboard. The dashboard will show outstanding tenant payments, basically when tenants owe money. There is the links here, which is sync system and database backup. Sync system is a sync which generates the rents. I'll show later how that works. And backup just makes a backup of the database. So now we've created a backup. So if I open up Sublime Text and we go to backups, there'll be a backup, that one there, which is just created right now. Then here will be any notifications, like if tenancy is closed or something, but it's not really using it much. It only uses for the moment when tenancies are closed, and that's that. We will start by creating a company, so when we get contacted, the management agency, we get contacted to create by somebody that owns properties and says please start managing them for me, we'll start off by creating a company and we'll call it Company 1. They might have an address. I'm just going to fill in rubbish data here to save time. And then if the legal address and the correspondence address is the same, we can just press that button. Going down here, commission is on works. So when we do works, let's say fix a boiler or something, we might charge commission, and we say by default do we want to charge or not. So if it's yes or no, the tick button for charging commission will automatically be ticked if we say yes. This is just to let us know how much the company agrees us to spend without permission, but it doesn't actually do anything, it just lets you know the amount. This is when the company has the end of year, how often they would like to receive the money, and their bank information. So that's all done, but just before we submit it, let's remove that from the form. So there's one field with a star that's missing. We'll submit the form, we get the form back with all the data in it, except that there is a red field here saying the account number is required. Company is created. I'll quickly explain this board. This is the name of the company. This is the breadcrumbs. Here you have the properties that the company has, the balance that they have by us, by the management agency, creating financial reports. This is based on yearly reports. You can see when the financial year ends. So if it's 10/10, then it'll be 2019 is the next one. Here you can change some of the information. So if you want to change a correspondence address, then we'll do it, and it's updated. Money is sent to a supplier. So the company, when I create a company, I create a supplier called the same name as a company. This can be changed, but it's a supplier. There'll always be a supplier as a company. Here we would keep the shareholders. I'll just create one shareholder. We don't really care about shareholders in the system because it's not that much applicable. So it's Mr. AA and create. There's not much to it except that when we go to the company now, and the one we just created is called Company 1, I can say there's a shareholder. And when I go to view the shareholder, it'll say the shareholder has a company, owns a company called Company 1. Of course, there can be multiple shareholders in a company. Going down, we have periods. Now, a period is very important when when we open a company. A period is opened, and every time we send money to the company, we close the period, create the balance at 0, 0. I'll explain that later on, and the new period is open. If I go to the next stage, which will be creating a property, I go action, add property. Let's call it house number. And the company is company 1. So now we've created this new property in company 1, and you can see it belongs to company 1. This is the information, if there's any active jobs for this company, and if there are any expenses for this company. If I go to add a unit, which is a requirement even if we rent out the whole thing as a 1, because all the contracts, as you'll see in a minute, are based on a unit. Rent commission is the commission on the rent. So we created before a commission which was on expenses, and this is on rent. Now you can see the default unit, and it's a 10% commission, and we can go and edit it, view it. The first thing we want to do is probably create a tenancy, because you want to straight away get tenants in. I'll show here that you actually need to create tenants. If you want to create a tenancy, you have to create the tenants first here, put in their information. Identification laws are changing now, new laws are coming in, so this might have to be edited a bit, and that's that. Then here you would go, after you've created that, you would go here, put in the start date of the tenancy, which should be today, monthly pets, the amount you want to charge per month, the deposit will probably be something like that, and you select the tenants. I've already got tenants in the system, so I have to create more, and 0 children, and that's our tenancy agreement. Straight away it's created a deposit request, so that they owe us £1,200 deposit, and the information of the tenancy, and now we want to download a tenancy agreement for the tenants to sign. It's very simple. We've just downloaded it. It's automatically filled in all the information here. Parties are company 1, and the person renting is Mendel Khan, and we've got all that stuff. And this can be changed by the user, so it's not fixed code. For example, here you can see Mendel Khan has to put a signature in, and the landlord puts a signature in, etc., etc. Once they've signed it, I'm guessing the next stage would probably be to upload it. It can just be done like that. It's uploaded. You can either select here and then select the file, doesn't make a difference. So if I refresh the page now, it will appear over here because it's been uploaded, and then I would probably say let's activate the tenancy. So now the tenant is active, which means at the next sync a rent request will be created for the date that it should have been created. So if I do a sync system, you then refresh, and here it will appear on the 30th a rent request was made for £1,000, which means they currently owe us £2,200. If you go to the dashboard, it will be visible here, outstanding £2,200 for this tenancy. You can go visit the unit. I can say, you know what, I don't really care about it, remind me maybe tomorrow. Or you can say, let's send an email. So this is an email saying you owe us this amount, and you can add some of your own text. Because it's a rich text editor, you can do some designing, and then you can send the email, which I'll do now, but it'll create an error because it's on a local host and there's no email server. So this message will come up a lot. Every time I try to send an email, it'll just say there's no mail server on this host. Anyways, for now maybe we'll just say remind me tomorrow, because I've just sent them an email and it's gone till tomorrow, it won't show up. So now they are going to pay us rent, so we'll go back into the property, into the unit, into the tenancy agreement, and they're going to pay us all the money. Of course, this has to be put in separately because different monies have different ways of working. So the rent was £1,000, and that will appear here straight away. Received rent £1,000, and then another payment of 1200, which is not for rent but for deposit. Now, rent is sent to the landlord. Deposit is kept by the management agency in this system. Not everyone does that, but this system does do that. So if we go to the company page, we find our company. They have they have £900 with us, which basically means the next time we send them money, we will send them £900. You might think this is wrong because we just had £2,200 coming in, but I can show here that the money only send them rent. So we sent rent £1,000, £100 is commission, and £900 we forward. Now before we forward that, maybe we should create another expense just to make the report more interesting. So let's go to there, and we're going to create an expense. The expense is going to go for, oh, that's an error, for cleaning company. I have a mistake, created everything as cleaning. I need to change that later. It's a £100 bill, and it's plus VAT. It goes for cleaning person. It's a VAT registered company, so it's automatic. The tick box here is not ticked, but if I click on cleaning, because the VAT registered, automatically ticks the button. And we said by default we charge as company commission, so that's ticked as well. And for now, doesn't make a difference. So we just created an expense, so we have to charge the company this money. Now if we go back to the company, ignore the red, it just means that we need to forward the money. 771.6, and if I do end period, I'll get the full report. 100%, £1,000 in rent, so they have £900. Cleaning person was £100 and 128 pounds in total after the commission, and I think it was 7% commission or something. And then we have two balances to finish off to close up, so we send them 700 in that, and we take for ourselves, for the management agency, that amount. That can be exported as a report. It's not a very tidy report, but at least it'll show the figures, rents and other things, and etc. This will, again, these reports can be edited in settings, report settings. It's not very user friendly. I'm still not sure the best way to do it, but it's all edited from here. You don't have to know how to use the database for that. Here's, you can see the different designs and whatever, but the best off is someone that can use the source code, who knows how to write HTML. You can go in here and edit the design. So we've sent them the money for the first period, and the new period opened up with a balance of 0, 0. Show a few more things about the system. You have suppliers, you have accounting, tenant. Oh, important to know is expenses. So there's expense categories, which I actually have wrong because for some reason everything is gone into cleaning, which I need to fix soon. But you have as well the expense itself. So here will appear all the expenses. You can see cleaning person that we have, we paid them £100, 200 has to go to the management agency that called online for you here, and to the company has to go 700 and that. So these are the numbers. If you can just mark it as deleted if you've sent it. Otherwise, you do an export, and it does a CSV export, which would be uploaded to the bank. This will be changed based on every client, how their bank performs. At the moment, it's just a standard CSV, and we got some information here. That's really it. You got report settings that I showed before, site settings where you set information shouldn't really be touched only if you know what you're doing. This 100 days is if you don't set a time when you need to pay them, automatically the default will be 100 days. So when we had the cleaning, it said on it, and then if you realize that you need to pay on a certain date, you can create new users. That is not set up at the moment. It's there, it just hasn't been synced with the system. And that's more or less what I want to show. I'll try and do one more report, but I don't know if it's set up. So we go to company, financial report, and this is the end of year report. And there's only one because we just finished one, and then we do get report. This report, again, it needs to be edited. This can be managed by the company. Company name, company number, there isn't, legal address, correspondence address, money that was spent on cleaning, which is £100, money which was sent to the management, a manager sent to the company, and that's that. Of course, if it's long, it continues with page numbers and everything, and this sort of report would be sent to the owner of the company maybe once a year or whenever they need it, and then they can give this report to their accountant to file reports.